Not take a majority to prevail, but rather an irate, tireless minority keen on setting brush fires of freedom in the minds of men. No matter what the issue or whether it is local, state, or federal level, no truer words could have been spoken by Samuel Adams, the very man that is remembered for helping to organize the Boston Tea Party, of which today's grassroots movement that has spread like wildfire across this nation bears its name as the Tea Party Patriots. Just as Sam Adams and his cohort, William Molyneux, became targets of the British government following their Boston Harbor escapades, those of us today that have chosen to attend tea parties and town halls have become targets of our own government. But even with the threat of being placed on watch lists, or possibly even worse, we have to continue to defend and protect the rights guaranteed by the Constitution and the Bill of Rights that Sam Adams and 55 others sacrificed everything to make happen. The federal government has grown too large and exercises power freely without due process. The IRS, welfare, Medicare, and many other programs that were instituted as temporary corrective measures now have never been repealed and grow uncontrollably. Thank God some in our Georgia state government have realized it is time to proclaim and reclaim our state sovereignty in an effort to protect us as statesmen from the outrage that has taken place in Washington, D.C. There are many others here on the panel to talk about health care, cap, trade, taxes, and bailouts. My mission is a little different, though the principles of action are all the same. I'm part of the irate, tireless minority that has a responsibility, first on the state level, to look after the needs of those that choose to ride motorcycles. Doesn't matter whether you ride as recreation or as a means of transportation, the issues are the same that affect us all. I ride for both. My job is about riding motorcycles. But for recreation, I, along with a group called the Iron Torch Riders, take it to a whole different level. In 2004, I rode from Savannah to San Diego, California in 47 hours and 42 minutes as part of a world record ride. In 2007, 40 of us tackled 7,000 miles from Prudhoe Bay, Alaska to Key West, Florida while raising money for Special Olympics. We realized the physical challenges we faced, but also the different laws and issues we would encounter while riding across 3 Canadian provinces and most of the United States. But just because I'm talking about motorcycle issues does not mean I'm here to talk about whether or not you should wear a helmet. Though I'm sure most of you have heard that before, as well as all the state officials over here, and that's for a good reason. Over the last several years, our state's motorcycle rights organization, ABATE, American Bikers Active Towards Education, have always held a function or attempted to introduce a helmet bill, being the first thing that hits the legislature. Our state elections for ABATE are this Sunday, and I can assure you that the people running for these offices today realize it's not just about helmets anymore. In 2007, the Georgia Department of Revenue suddenly decided that according to current law, they did not have to tag, title, and inspect custom-built motorcycles. I placed calls to ABATEs and began calling tag offices around the state. We soon learned they were not just issuing new tags and titles, but were revoking tags and titles of existing motorcycles that had been on the roads for years. Within 60 days, we organized the largest ride the state capitol has ever seen. The irate, tireless minority managed to get Senate Bill 437 that allows the tags and titling of custom-built motorcycles passed and signed into law by Governor Perdue on May 14, 2008. Earlier this year, we lobbied for successful patches of Senate Bill 196 that enhanced the penalties for right-of-way violations. It was an attempt to increase the penalties and make them tough enough that will get the attention of those that are killing and injuring motorcyclists, bicyclists, and pedestrians because they are neglecting their responsibility to operate their vehicles in a safe manner. These right-of-way violators are responsible for the fatalities of 58.9% of all bikers killed in 2 vehicle collisions. An important piece of legislation that has gone virtually unnoticed by most motorists and bikers alike. I'm sure Mr. Oxendine is very familiar with it because it is an insurance law. It affects the way uninsured motorist coverage is handled. The law allows what is sometimes referred to as stacking of policy coverages. This is huge for motorcyclists that are involved in an accident where they are not at fault, which, as I already mentioned, 58.9 are killed because of the type of accidents, and 80% of other accidents are caused by two-vehicle collisions for which they're not at fault. Organizations such as ABATE, the American Motorcycle Association, and Motorcycle Rights Foundation in Washington, D.C. are busy lobbying for legislation to protect the freedom to ride at the state and federal level. On the surface, most people have no idea, including the motorcycle themselves, as to the amount of negotiation and work that it takes in this area. Red light sensors don't change because they don't adequately measure the mass of a motorcycle. Smart highway systems at the federal level do not take into account motorcycle traffic on the roadways. The right to repair legislation that has been introduced initially did not even include motorcycle manufacturers. The list goes on of the issues that affect your ability and your freedom to ride. But just like the groups voicing the concerns over health care, bailouts, taxes, the groups working for motorcycle rights cannot do it alone. You have to make a choice of the role you're going to take. What is the effort you're willing to bring to the cause? Bruce Arnold, be sure and check out this website. It's ldrlongdistancerider.com. Offers great words on the subject in an article called Slacktivists, Lobbyists, Advocates, and Activists: The Farces and Forces of Motorcyclist Rights. Are you going to be a slacktivist, or are you going to be an activist? In the words of Jess Foxworthy, a slacktivist can best be described as: if you believe that web blogging, forum posting, or email forwarding without real word follow-up is freedom fighting, then you just might be a slacktivist. But to really advocate for change, what are you really willing to do? Activists recognize that it is going to require working outside the system in order to effect change, even if it requires nonviolent civil disobedience in order to change it, such as the ride to Washington this weekend. Many of you here have made that step. You're riding your motorcycles, you're attending tea parties and town halls, and you're being called names in the face of adversity. The choice you'll make in the role you'll play as a motorcyclist will impact your right to ride your motorcycle and the future of motorcycling. The choice you make as an American citizen, as a patriot, will affect your rights and the future of America. Are you going to be a slacktivist or an activist? I want to ask you again, what are you really willing to do to take care of our country? Thank you.